AEW Blood and Guts is Wednesday, May 5th on TNT. And Blood and Guts is on the line when the Inner Circle battles the Pinnacle. What a great tag team, well decorated, awesome in the ring, awesome on mic. These guys can do it all. Thank you so much, Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. Tell us, gentlemen, big match, Blood and Guts. What is a Blood and Guts match?
Well, firstly, Jim, thanks again for having us on, man. It's been a while. We always have great times, chopping it up and stuff. Yeah, man, Blood and Guts is exactly that. You're going to get one of the most violent matches in wrestling history. If you go back and do your homework, you know that this match has it's made careers and has cut careers short. So, I mean, I think a lot of people can expect some pure violence and brutality going into this, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Wrestling fans are rabid and crazy all over the world, so Blood and Guts is exactly what I think they're all looking for.
Is there any training that can be done, any preparation when you are getting ready for a match like this, or is it you just go in there and just go at it?
Honestly, for me personally, and I'm sure Ortiz is the same way, for me, I just honestly, I put myself in a different state of mind when going into these matches. As you know, Jim, you've seen us a part of some crazy stuff in our days as a tag team. And, it's more of getting yourself to that mind state and knowing that, hey, there's a possibility, we might not walk out of this. And, for me, I just like channeling the young guy that was out in the street and doing a bunch of stupid stuff and just pure violence, man.
Ortiz.
To go off what Santana said, I completely agree with the mental part of it. But as far as the physical aspect, I mean, I've been treating this match like it's a prize boxing match or MMA fight coming up. I've been training my ass off in the gym, and I know we're going to be in that cage with 5 real deal gentlemen. I mean, obviously we don't agree on everything, and we have our issues with them, but we respect them, especially a team like FTR. Like, we respect what they've done and who they are as individuals, but, I mean, that respect went out the window the moment they mentioned our children, the moment they jumped us, the moment they were scumbags, you know what I mean? And when that happened, something clicked in me, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to treat this like this is the biggest fight of my career, because at this point, this is one of the biggest fights of our career. So I've been going in, doing a lot of endurance training, because I need to be able to go when the 30-minute mark passes, if we get that far. Obviously the game plan is to take them out very early, but, you never know what happens. There's a lot of variables in the match.
And there's one thing that I could honestly say with all honesty in the world, and Ortiz could say the same. FTR has never dealt with a tag team like us. They've never been to face with a tag team like us, with a tag team that's willing to put it all on the line and has no fear. You know what I mean? We backpedal for no one. So, they're the same way we're in for a treat, they're in for a bigger one.
Yeah, I think it intrigues all 4 men on both sides. I mean, the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle, there's something intriguing there, because I think we see ourselves in them and vice versa. So, it's going to be interesting.
Well, Blood and Guts, that alone signifies and represents Santana and Ortiz. You guys will go all out, all at it, 110%. This is why you got to the point to where you're at now. How do you see your evolution? How do you see where you've been from, what you've become, and what's going on with you two as a group, as a tag team?
You want to start this one, Ortiz?
I think we've, through our career, we've been put in situations where we've been in matches like this, not quite like this, violence. And it's definitely given us a harder exterior. You know, it's not that we necessarily like to do these big time blood feud matches, but being that we had the experience, it kind of prepared us in a strange way for this, and it made us evolve as performers and as wrestlers in a different way, because like Santana stated earlier, we kind of channel like the young kids in us. We were angry. We were, we did stupid things as a lot of people did when they were younger, and we learned from it. And I think it's calloused us in a way to be prepared for situations like this. And, I mean, when you do a match like this, you come out the other end a little bit different, hopefully for the better. But when you have another person's blood in your hands, it definitely causes some trauma. Yeah.
For me personally, I love these matches, mainly because it allows me to let that other person out to play sometimes. And, that other person is something that I've struggled with my whole life, and it's something that has always been a challenge for me to keep that person locked up away, and because that person is not is someone I don't like very much, but from time to time I like letting that person out to play, because it allows me to just get an extra breath of fresh air, you know what I mean? And I hold a lot of stuff inside, and I love these matches, man. It just allows me to truly let out so much, and feel sorry for the guys we're all in there with.
Well, the Inner Circle, Santana and Ortiz, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara. What an awesome collection of talent. Guys, what are your thoughts of being a part of the Inner Circle? The name, the Inner Circle, and bringing the Inner Circle to AEW.
We're the baddest gang in the land, man. We started off fairly as just people that met each other once in a while at one point at one point in time, and we grew like a brotherhood, man. We text nearly every day. The battles that we've been in during the infancy of AEW has brought us closer together, and I love it, man. It was a collection of people that, without them knowing, had the same mindset, and it worked out, and it's beautiful, and I think we're stronger than ever, and I think Blood and Guts is going to prove that, man, and it's going to really show you everything that we've been through since the beginning of AEW up until this point. It's going to show how we've grown as a collective unit.
And one of my favorite things, regarding the group is that you have 5 totally different guys, totally different personalities, totally different styles and looks, but all with the same mindset, and that, being the absolute best in whatever we do, and, just enforcing our dominance, because that's exactly what we've done since day one. Yeah, we made mistakes along the way, but that's life, man, and as long as we continue learning from those mistakes and allowing those mistakes to get us better, I mean, what more can you ask for, right?
Yeah, and I'm also, just on a short note, I'm really afraid for the Pinnacle when Jake really lets loose. Like, this man gets locked up in cages with another legit crazy human being and comes out the other end and does that for fun. You know what I mean? Poor guys. Like, they don't understand the violence that Jake can bring, and we were very fortunate to see him in one of his fights at Bellator, and just seeing that man just let loose it's a scary thing. I'm really happy he's on our side.
Jake can take a beating and he could dish one out. That is for sure, and he proved that in Bellator.
Hell yeah.
Hey guys, the Pinnacle, and you guys have mentioned about them. MJF, Wardlow, Shawn Spears, Cash and Dax with the great Tully Blanchard. What is it like working with competitors like a Chris Jericho with your Inner Circle, or a Tully Blanchard of the Four Horsemen fame?
I think, honestly, throughout our career, we've been blessed to be able to work with some of the best minds in pro wrestling. We've been lucky enough to be associated with some of the best minds in pro wrestling, and yeah, I think it's an awesome feeling and something that we don't take for granted, and it's something that we always use to our advantage, because at the end of the day, those guys have done it all. They've been everywhere, and they have that experience. So, I mean, if we don't garner any knowledge that's going to help set us up in the future or help us progress as performers and as individuals, I mean, then we're obviously doing something wrong, But, yeah, it's been a great experience, and we look forward to continue learning and continue, working with all these guys. It's definitely been a privilege, and not just guys like Jericho and Tully, but also other tag teams that we've been in the ring with all over the world. They've all helped us get better and progress, and we're thankful for that.
What do you two think of the tag teams in AEW? And I know right now your first thoughts are Blood and Guts, Wednesday, May 5th on TNT. Tag Team Gold, that's something you're still reaching for AEW. And what are some of the tag teams that stand out to you all right now?
I think, as you know, AEW has one of, if not the best, tag team division in pro wrestling today. You have guys that have been together, 2 months. You have guys that have been together 10, 15 years, you know what I mean? So I think the amount of talent, the amount of experience, and the amount of hunger that everyone has is just second to none, And honestly, but to keep it 100 with you guys, while we may have the best tag team division in wrestling, I honestly feel there's not a tag team that has our heart and drive right now. You know what I mean? And if there is, then by God, I want to mix it up with them. But I'll be straight up. Like, we're hungrier than we've ever been, and best believe we got those tag team titles in our sights. It will happen. I'm not saying if it happens or what, it will happen.
I personally, I've always been a geek when it comes to learning more about wrestling, and I think there's something to be learned at every level. Like Santana just stated, there's people that have been wrestling with each other, tag teams, 2 months and 15 years, and honestly, I want us to wrestle all of them, the people at 2 months and the people at 15 years, because every experience that you have in the ring with somebody, whether it's good or bad, you learn something from it. And that's what's exciting about being in AEW and having the tag team roster. Of course, tag team gold will come because we focus on bettering ourselves and being the best possible versions of us. That when you focus on that, gold will come, success will come. So without a shadow of a doubt, after we deal with the Pinnacle, that will be coming in the near future. But I'm excited to mix it up with all the teams. So Pinnacle and Luther, fairly new tag team in AEW, and we'll sit down and watch their matches, and we're starting to see it click. And I remember a time in our career very early on when things started to click, and I was like, oh yeah, and I see that in them. That's what makes me excited to wrestle a team like that. Or Top Flight, a very young team, and we know that our styles would mesh perfectly with them. SCU, Frankie and Christopher Daniels have been on a winning streak lately, and I would love to take that winning streak from them. You know what I mean? And that's just something I would like on my belt notch. I can name all the teams and name all their strengths and why we want to work them, but it's exciting, man. We just want to learn and get better. We want to be the best tag team in the world, and in order to do that, we need to wrestle
And obviously on that list, Cash and Dax, who are part of the Pinnacle, and you mentioned them before as well. There is a respect factor there, but with what they're doing, you guys are just really going out there to prove the Inner Circle is better and taking it out on them. And you guys, as a tag team, are focused on Cash and Dax. Fair to say?
Very fair to say.
What do you think of what Cash and Dax brings, not just to the Pinnacle, but to AEW?
I mean, they bring a lot. You know what I mean? They have the experience. They've had the exposure. And, you know, those are two guys that are, since day one of you know, their careers, they've been fighting to make tag team wrestling important and a staple in any company they're in, you know. And for that, we have to respect them. We have to respect their work ethic. But again, like I said, you know, they've never come across a tag team like us. They've never stepped in front of a tag team like us that have a similar drive, have a similar attitude, and we also like to fight. You know, thankfully, you know, us four guys, we have no problem, you know, strapping down and throwing hands. So it's definitely something that we look forward to, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to it, and it's going to be exactly that, a fight, and I can't wait.
Well, Santana and Ortiz, with Cash and Wheeler, with Tully, that's money right there, guys. I mean, anybody, put that match up anywhere, anytime. Now it's going to be in this blood and guts battle, which is going to be, man, very interesting, very cool to see what happens in that one. I'm curious, we're going to wrap this up. 2 more questions. This all transpired. MJF, Wardlow was part of the Inner Circle. Did you guys see this coming with MJF? Could you tell that something was going to happen?
100%, man. I mean, where Ortiz and I are from, and you know, the streets we were raised on, we could smell a snake and see a snake a mile away. You know what I mean? But of course, we want to play along with his little game and have him think that he has the upper hand. But in all actuality, we were onto his little game the whole time. You know, of course, we respect MJF and what he brings, and that's also why we allowed him to play his little game for as long as he did. But at the same time, you know what I mean? When you have guys like us, guys like Jericho, Jake, and Sammy, you know, we've been around the world and we've seen it twice. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's in for a good one.
Well, you got...
Yeah, to go off what Santana said really quickly, I mean, we're from New York, so the minute someone is too nice to us, we're like, what do you want? What do you want from us? Shit. Like, he's like that random person that comes in the street and it's like, hey, how you doing, sir? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, get away from me. Like, stop being nice to me. You want something from me. And that's how we felt about Max. But he wouldn't know that because he's from Long Island. You know what I'm saying?
That was the best closing line you'll ever.
Hey, does Taz fit that bill too?
Hey, man, Taz could get it too. I'm wearing orange all day, every day. Fight me.
Oh man, hey.
Next time, if you ever talk to Taz, tell him says we'll see him on the 13th.
Oh man, hey, tag teams. It's amazing what you guys have accomplished, what you're gonna do, and it's so fun in AEW in the sense that you have shows like AEW Dark Elevation and AEW Dark, and we're seeing teams like you mentioned, Top Flight, and I'm seeing Bear Country and other teams and other singles wrestlers getting a chance. I was curious what you guys thought, and have you guys obviously been checking out, watching what's there and the talent that's there that's being showcased on those shows and AEW doing those shows?
Of course, we always try to keep our fingers on the pulse and try to watch everyone and everything as much as we can. But I think it's great that lots of guys, you know, especially from the independent circuit, are getting opportunities and getting a chance to perform in front of a bigger audience, and especially with, you know, the pandemic and how that pretty much crushed, you know, wrestling to its core, and the independents were pretty much almost non-existent. So a lot of guys were out there just, struggling and wondering where their next paycheck and their next meal were going to come. And thankfully, AEW was there to have open arms and a big heart to give a lot of these people opportunities. And I think it's awesome, not just for all the guys and girls involved, but for the company as a whole, because it keeps everything fresh. It keeps everyone on their toes, and they know that there's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of guys out there who are also hungry. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, again, you're going to see matches on those shows that you're going to be blown away by, because again, a lot of these guys coming in are hungry as hell. So it's definitely a big plus.
Yeah, I think competition and with the mix of talent that we have is it's going to breed magical moments in the ring. Like Santana said, it's a lot of hungry guys that are super talented and they're trying to earn their spot. And we've been there before. We've been there countless of times. And when you have all that going for you, good things happen.
Well, you mentioned too Luther and Serpentico, and what a tag team they are, and just wow. And they different styles too. It's just really cool. And some of the things they do, it's funny but innovative, and it really meshes well. And AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, really cool to see that. Hey guys, all right, we're wrapping this up. I'm curious because I know Santana Ortiz train, work, wrestle to be the best. But not only in wrestling, they like to be the best in everything. So guys, I'm just curious. Have you guys been practicing your bowling, and will you beat bowling champ Conan? No, I didn't talk to Conan. I had no words with Conan.
Hey, man. So with New York opening up this summer and things getting back to some sort of normalcy, I'm definitely going to be practicing my bowling and trying to get on point, because I refuse to be embarrassed again.
I will continue to be terrible, but I will approach it with the confidence that I'm the best in the world every single time.
You say it, and it'll become true in reality.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So listen, big event, AEW Blood and Guts, Wednesday, May 5th on TNT. Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle, Blood and Guts match. Several other great matches on the show as well. Hey guys, it's also Cinco de Mayo Wednesday. So will you guys be celebrating Blood and Guts with a little bit of the bubbly afterwards?
We're going to need it.
Well said. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Jim.
Cheers, man.
Santana and Ortiz, yes! AEW!